What's up, gamers? Welcome back to some more Legends of Runeterra content. Today, we're going to be playing the Flying Tentacles deck, a complete 180 from the deck that we were doing before with timelines and the Bandle Swarm stuff that we've done. This deck, I believe the progenitor of this one, the one player who was really popular, or really well known for popularizing this archetype, was Grandpa Roji. Grandpa Roji, it's seen some iterations, it's seen some changes, and after the buffs to Illaoi a couple of patches ago, this deck is still pretty solid. It's still putting up some numbers here and there. And actually, this deck was, funny enough, the deck that pushed me to Diamond this season. I think I started this season in Silver, because I was Plat last season. You demote 2 ranks. But anyway, the whole idea with this deck is to just work off of the Illaoi package. You have Watchful Idol, Brew Leader to make a 1-cost ally start a free attack, Seize Voice, Tentacle Smash, all these things eventually ending in Nagagaboros because we are able to just absolutely ramp the life out of these tentacles. Now, unfortunately, the other champion in this deck next week will be rotated out. Twisted Fate. Goodbye, Sweet Prince. You were good in every deck, including this one. Twisted Fate is kind of here as this almost tertiary win condition. Really, a lot of the stuff that we're trying to do is make these giant tentacles that can then swing in with Ghost, give it an elusive, or have the Overwhelm from the Seize Voice, and Illaoi becomes way too massive for other units to handle. But then Twisted Fate also has a chance of leveling up because we're running 3x Eye of Nagagaboros. We're also just running Twisted Fate in general, so if he stays on board for long enough, which you can do in this deck, considering that we're running 2 copies of Deny, 2 copies of Spirit's Refuge, 1 copy of Unworthy Soul, all these, and 2 copies of Syncopation. All these really defensive options that keep our champions alive and keep them okay for the late game and ramping up into what eventually are these big Illaoi swings. And then if your game is not over by the time that you've hit turn 5 and you're able to swing with Ghost or Syncopation or something along those lines, Nagagaboros is here to be an alternate win condition. Now, some of you might not know what this card does or what really changed for us to justify playing this card, because it's an 8-mana 5/8 with Fearsome. Terrible stats. Previously, it didn't even summon, or it didn't even spawn 2 on summon. It only did this on round start, so you would play Nagagaboros, and then it would do nothing on board, and then you would have to wait a turn for it to do something. But now, it spawns 2. Then, it'll check if your tentacle has 10 plus power. So if it's 10 or 12 plus power, if it's 10 on board, you spawn 2, and then it checks, and you create what's called Nagagaboros' Tantrum, a 0-mana focus speed spell, and it creates a free attack with 4 tentacles. These tentacles are ephemeral. This thing will attack, this 5/8 will attack, and then this copies the stats of your strongest tentacle on board. So you often have these wide, like, 50 attack swings, because that's the bare minimum that Nagagaboros can do anyway, with a bunch of ephemeral tentacles. That just makes it so incredibly awkward for your opponent to block. So overall, really powerful deck, and we're in Masters, so I'm going to take it on the ladder, and to steal the line from Majin Bay, see how it does. Match number 1, Teemo Zoe. This might be a tough match. Teemo Zoe, I remember this is a very elusive, spammy deck. This is a deck that likes to play things like Esmus and all of that and have a lot of stats early. Tentacle Smash is a great find, though, because if I'm able to remove their champions and their units before they can become a real threat, that'll be great. The thing that sucks is that we don't find Watchful Idol or any of our other tentacle creators. Like, once we use Tentacle Smash, there's just really nothing else going for us. So, this will be an awkward game for us. I kind of want to kill the Esmus this turn, but I don't think it's very likely that I will. Besides, killing Zoe is going to be more valuable, no matter what I say. So Tentacle Smash spawns 2, removes the Zoe. No longer have that elusive threat of getting hit for 2 damage coming through. They could swing with Esmus, but it doesn't make a difference. Just really to kind of flex on me, really. Seize Voice is the perfect find here. So I'm going to play that. This makes this a 3/2 with Overwhelm now. And that'll be a lot of damage that our opponent has to respond to. And of course, because they're not playing Piltover and Zon, there's no threat of a Mystic Shot. There's no Vile Feast, another card that's getting rotated coming down here. So we push in for a lot of damage. Our opponent is going to be hitting us back for about equivalent, though, so we do have to worry about that. But the nice thing is that we do have Spirit's Refuge, which gives us lifesteal anyway. So I'm not really too threatened by this open attack, especially if they're going to be, you know, burning resources like this really early. Like, yeah, it takes 7 damage, but again, I have Spirit's Refuge, I have Twin Disciplines, I have so many options available right now that I don't think that this attack really matters to me. I'm gonna drop Watchful Idol on board, spawns a Tentacle every round start, but deals 2 to itself. So now it's a 4-3. I have Ghost now, which is even better. I might even just rip an Eye of Nakakoboros, because this requires a lot of answers out of my opponent here. Yeah, I'm just going to do that. Hit for 10. Do they block this? They block here, sure. But I could Twin Disciplines, right? Or I could even Syncopation here. And that might even be better, because Syncopation guarantees that this goes through any buff that they have. We'll do this. Little Syncopation action. Kill the Teemo. Hit for 3 over top as well, so 6 damage in total. And then we have Spirit's Refuge, and I have Nakakoboros anyway. This is fine as well. Losing the Battle Bonds, I did not expect that card. But losing the Battle Bonds on this to kill the Teemo is fantastic for me. Now that I have Ghost, Twin Discipline, Spirit's Refuge, all of these other options available to me, I'm really not too bothered by any of this. It's a big swing, for sure, for Teemo. But... oh, I hope they don't hit Scout here. That would be really bad. I might have to use Ghost defensively. If they have Overwhelm, it's not a problem. I'm gonna go with Illaoi here. Maybe it was Buru Lookout, though. Buru Lookout into Ghost might have been better. Okay, that's very good for me. So I can pass. This buffs this, buffs this. It's not even lethal, though. That's the funny thing. They only have 1 mana. So I don't care about this attack. I have 4... they have 5 Puff Caps in the deck. It'll make it 10. I don't really need to play this that safe. Like, I can disrespect the hell out of this attack. Because 10 Mushrooms, they're not going to be drawing anything for me. So I highly, highly doubt that there's going to be any sort of threat going on there. I go with a Buru Lookout. Make that 5. That becomes a 7 attack unit on my attack with Overwhelm. So that's pretty good. They have 8 mana to deal with, but they also have to block a lot here. That is a big open swing. Battle Bonds does not matter to me. They'll probably block Illaoi here. And in this case... yeah, so they live on 1 HP if they block Illaoi. But the funny thing is, I have Twin Disciplines, which I'm just going to put here. Just to push through the damage. Maybe I should have put it over here, because this can get buffed out of range. Nope. Does not matter. We're just too big for them. We win that match out on the merit of having the board that goes a little bit wider, that plays a little bit stronger, and really not being threatened by all too much in that game. So pretty happy with how that result went, and we'll be going on to the next match. All right. Match number 2, this looks like a Vaults deck. If I ever see Demacia Shadow Isles with some weird-ass champion combination, my thought is immediately, oh, this is Vaults. There's no other explanation for it. I'm going to keep C's Voice, but toss Tentacle Smash, because I don't think that there's a whole lot early game that we hit with Tentacle Smash, aside from, I don't know, Dragon Chow, maybe? I have no idea what this deck is. I'm burning down the clock, trying to figure out what they want to draw here. Mana 1, I would expect Dragon Chow maybe out of a Shyvana deck. Also possible that they're playing Crawling Viper Worm. No Viper Worm. So we'll just pass. We'll double pass here. The funny thing is that if I play C's Voice, this is vulnerable to a Vengeance if they have it. Could also potentially have a Callista this turn. And I can just tell them outright that, like, hey, I have a Twin Disciplines in hand. But does Twin Disciplines beat a possible Sharp Sight? I don't think that's something I can really gamble with here. So we'll just pass. We'll hold on to the Twin Disciplines. Just not sure about how that might go. We have Illaoi now as well, which is nice. Could be a Shyvana turn. To mobilize. Mobilize into Vaults of Helia? They are playing, I'm guaranteeing you that you're playing the Cytherea Lady of Clouds. We're not going to take this hit, or we're not going to take this block, because we want to develop Illaoi anyway.
And be tested.
What if they have Despair? Now that I don't know what this deck is, I'm so concerned. I don't know what's happening. So there is Dragon Chow. Very likely that we see Shyvana now? Oblivious Islander. They are discounting the hell out of something here. Whatever this card is, they've discounted it by 2. It could potentially be a turn 6 Matron. That's very likely. Aristocrat. Pass. Still have nothing. I don't know what you want me to do, fam. There's nothing else that I've got here. You know, funny enough, Tentacle Smash would have been really good. Wow, Burr Lookout is incredible. Because this gives me a tentacle to work with immediately.
Let Illaoi bear the truth. I shall find it on the sea.
So we play this. We're still, again, still vulnerable to a Vengeance here, but they have a Matron available. Fairly certain. They're not going to expect the Syncopation, though. Which is cool by me. Oh, wait, what? Really? That's the one you want to go for? What if I do this? Is that better? I think that's best. Yep. Big counters. And no open Vengeance makes me think that this play is correct. Because that gives it +5, Illaoi now hits for 12, or for 7, gets 12 towards her level up. We're hitting for 15 attack here. And they have blockers for sure. Can block here and here. This one they probably won't block, but hey, what can I say? We swing for a lot of damage here, though. Getting Illaoi to 12 is pretty good. And her taking no damage from that combat because they block... Excuse me, I'm hiccuping. But because they blocked her with Dragon Chow is even better. Now, next turn, though, we might be losing. No doubt. Because they have Matron into Cytherea, possibly. That's my guess. Because they played Mobilize and then discounted whatever this card is here. For now, it seems okay. Because what we can do is play Brewer Leader onto this, force a block, if they do pass. Actually, if they pass, I think I just take the pass, because my open attack is so much more powerful than what they have on board right now. I don't need to be playing for tempo. In fact, I'll just be playing for their surrender button. What on earth was that deck? That was a weird one. I think it might have been the Dark Dragons deck, but with Callista instead of Lucian. I'm going to go look at my Runeterra AR match history and find out what that list was, because I'm very curious. Okay, I'm looking at the list now, and I was right. There are 3 Cytherea Lady of Clouds, 3 Spectral Matrons, and the rest is like your typical, well, I say typical, but it's not exactly typical. They're running Mask Mother, 3 copies, 3 copies of Darkwater Scourge, they had 1 copy of Screeching Dragon, 2 copies of Radiant Guardian. I mean, basically the whole idea is that you want to get Cytherea on board as soon as possible with Matron, and then Soul Cleave Cytherea, so that your board is just basically unblockable, but didn't really end up working out too well for my opponent. I just played a stronger deck, I guess. Okay, Jin Annie. This is a deck that I'm tired of seeing, personally. But, you know, you get what you get. You have players who are interested in this deck specifically, and I am not one of them. That's okay. We have a really good opening hand. We have Twisted Fate, which is great on 4, because this can clear a board or can prevent an attack. Can also give us more options if need be. Having only Watchful Idol on turn 1 feels kind of bad, but it gives us a blocker for next turn that they have to develop for anyway. So yes, they have Legion Saboteur, whip to frickin' doodle, right? We have that, and then they develop 2 more 1-drops most likely. That would be the ideal hand for them. And it's not an ideal hand, actually. It's just a straight-up Tusk Speaker. I get Hired Gun now, which now if they attack, I have a perfect block for this. I have a perfect block for this. They're only pushing 1 damage here. This is great. This is a great start for me. Of course, they have to attack because they want to get that skill going for the Jin level up. Well, actually, just the Jin in general, in case there is one in hand at the moment. Very likely that there is as well. Usually it's something that you want to mulligan for quite frequently. We'll swing for our 1 attack. Not threatening too much right now. I'm going to pass because I want to find out what other units they have available right now. And if they don't have any other units, I have a 2/2 that can block this pretty freely. They have Solari Sunhawk, which I don't think I mind. Because I'm allowed to do... I have a couple of options here. I can just play Illaoi. Illaoi might be my best option. Illaoi into Tentacle Slam. I think I like that best. We could also have done Twisted Fate, but then Twisted Fate trades up into Solari Sunhawk. And then it loses to anything else that might be on board. Okay, so what we'll do then is we will Tentacle Smash this unit here. Right? Or is it Legion Saboteur that we smash? I think it's Saboteur that we smash. Because we don't want this unit hitting for the extra skill right now. Like, sure, we don't get to kill Sunhawk right now, and they have Fervor anyway, but the difference here being that now I have a 4/4 Tentacle that I'm swinging with next turn. I have a block onto Solari Sunhawk that they don't even attack with. So we're already really far ahead. We play Eye of Nakagoboros. I'm not going to give him a chance to try and respond to anything here. And swing with 14 stats. Or 15, excuse me. 16, I can't count. Golly day. I was thinking 14, but then I remembered that Illaoi gets that plus the overwhelm hit here. If I find Brewleader, we win the match, basically, on the spot. I'm a big fan of this. No Fervor to get the second Sunhawk off the board. And this Tentacle keeps being a threat on board. Big Illaoi level up. Huge Illaoi level up. Because now Tentacle Smash spawns 3 and then strikes. Illaoi now will spawn an extra on attack. Will then heal up for the entire Tentacle's health. It's looking pretty good for us right now. We might be down to 13 HP, but our opponent is down to 9 and losing. So now what do I do? Now I think I Tentacle Smash 1, Seize Voice afterwards for a unit. Wait, no. We Tentacle Smash here, because this is pushing guaranteed damage right now. We have not seen the Jin in hand. They have played enough spells and skills for it to be revealed. So even if they do have Jin, I have Tentacle available. Decimate's not doing anything here. We are outright winning. I put Ghost on the Tentacle and I win next round. I could play Seize Voice. 1 mana is not going to be doing a whole lot here. I block here. Does not matter at all to me what my opponent chooses to play. Because this is spawn 4 plus all the extra damage on top. They have no blockers left for me to worry about. And we swing with an extra... Oh, I misplayed. Put them out of order. Yeah. Big Illaoi swings. Lethaling on 7. Even though we didn't have, like, quote-unquote, the perfect curve for Illaoi, we still had a really great hand that we started off with. And we were able to just stave off the entire wave of aggro there. So, huge wins. And on to the next match. Okay, Varus Akshan. Varus Akshan is a deck for sure, and this is going to be quite difficult to handle. I'm kind of tempted to keep Twisted Fate specifically to try and stun things out. But it might not be necessary. This is a very awkward deck to play against. I'm trying to remember what they have. Yeah, I want to keep Twisted Fate. Ooh, probably a misplay though. Not finding any other units. We do find Illaoi, but this does give my opponent plenty of space to play with here. And even if I have Tentacle Smash available, it's going to be pretty awkward for us to handle anyway. Especially if they have Akshan on too. We resolve. We pass. Now I'm wondering if it's better to do Answered Prayer or Tentacle Smash this turn. Because I pass if they develop Akshan, I kill it with Tentacle Smash. Which was the right read. I was thinking of doing Answered Prayer. And then having Tentacle Smash available. Okay, well. Sick. I was expecting that to go so much further, but yeah, I was so very wrong. We are on a roll with this deck. Holy moly. This deck is apparently very strong, or I'm just playing against some very good matchups so far. I'd also like to apologize for last video. I pumped up the audio of Legends of Runeterra too high, and it was really quite often contending with my own audio, so that was pretty awkward for anyone listening. If you're even paying attention to it. If not, then it's no problem. Don't go back. Don't go back and watch it. You don't need to have that kind of incriminating proof. Wow, I can count to 4 with this hand. My opponent playing deep. This is not a matchup that I have played. Or at least not recently. I don't know how this goes. But I think we might struggle against this deck. I mean, yeah, we are lethaling people on 7 like we saw in that Jin Annie matchup. But at the same time, deep does sometimes have the tendency to go deep on turn 6 themselves. So, who knows? Let's find out what they have. And Drag Dredgers would be really... like, usually whenever I see Drag Dredgers on 1, that's when I know, like, ah, okay, well, I have lost. It's all a matter. It's all a matter of seeing if they have that card or not. Watchful Idol on 1 means that we're going to be able to ramp up these tentacles. Unfortunately, it doesn't give us an attack for round 1. I do like attacking on evens a little bit better with this deck, because evens means that we can attack with an Illaoi churn, we can attack with a hired gun churn, and also have a tentacle available for that attack. It feels better attacking on evens with this deck specifically, but I'm not complaining. We have C's Voice on 3, so it'll be on odds, and then we have the Overwhelm Tentacle anyway. So, really not too much more to worry about. My opponent does seem like they're not here. I end round. I have nothing else to play for here. Possible that we're getting donated some LP today. But we can keep talking about the theory of this deck. I mean, I know I talked about it in the deck text specifically, but when we're going up against deep specifically, the problem that I am running into is when I'm trading out units and leveling up Maokai more quickly, especially if they have, like, Sea Scarab on turn 3, right? Let's say that they have Sea Scarab on 3. Then that becomes really awkward for me because I'm just unable to trade into units. I have to try and go around with Ghost or Syncopation. Like, I have answers available because Ionia has typically not been that great for Deep to deal with. And back in the day when Nami Twisted Fate with Ionia was a thing, that was Deep's biggest enemy, was playing against any sort of deck that loved spamming elusives out. And so the fact that I have access to elusive, the fact that I have access to overwhelm, these keywords that you can use to push through your opponent's units, the sneaky keywords as I like to call them, because you sneak damage around people. Deep is not that great at dealing with them because of how expensive all their options are, how late game they like to play. They have Vengeance that's really late game. They have their units that are really late game, like Nautilus and everything. Like, they don't come online until after they get their deep rolling. And with my opponent passing for 3 rounds in a row, I can only assume that their game crashed and they were unable to play. So, handing us the LP, I will take that. We're rocketing up the leaderboard of Masters, which might sound kind of strange to say, like, oh, we're rocketing way up there. But let me show you something on the leaderboard specifically. So here we are. I'm already, even with 90 LP, I'm already in the top 700 players in the Americas Shard out of over like nearly 6,000 people in Masters right now. And that's because a lot of people will play to get to Masters and then they just won't play ranked again. They will just sit at 0 LP in Masters the whole way through, and you'll be able to climb up the ranks so incredibly fast. So like I'm already better than, I'm in the top, what, 15% of players right now? Is that right? 700 out of 6,000 roughly translates to, let's say 1 out of 8 and change. 1 out of 8 is like 12%, so round, like really egregious rounding and estimation off the top of my head means that I'm already in the top 12 to 15% of players on the Americas Shard just off of having only 90 LP, because people will just sit at 0 LP in Masters, and even though there's nearly 6,000 people here, you can climb up the ladder pretty easily. It's also because the gains in Masters is pretty tough. The gains being like, what is it, plus 15 for a win, minus 25 for a loss. Fortunately, we didn't lose any matches today, so we don't have to worry about that too much. All right, and that's going to be it for this match. I'd like to thank Grandpa Roji once again for playing this deck and for bringing this to the public eye. Also, huge congratulations to a number of weeks ago when I was first casting for the Mystic Shot podcast. The player You Stunned brought this deck in the day before the Illaoi buffs, and it went really well for them. They OTK'd their opponent because their opponent's hand bricked on turn 5 or 6. It was really, really early and really showed off the potency of this deck specifically. And as you can see, even in Masters, it's still able to put up some numbers, even against the likes of Jin Annie, which is the most popular deck by statistics, by win rate right now. Yeah, I think that's about all I have to say for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you again sometime soon. Bye-bye.